One mistake which could have destroyed the world as we know it, and one man who didn't let that happen. Half a century since the 1960s Cuban Missile Crisis, new details have emerged that an incorrect nuclear launch order sent to a U.S. military base in Japan was averted by the station's captain. Captain Bassett died in 2011, but his colleagues have now stepped forward with the accounts of this fascinating last-ditch escape from nuclear war. RT's Alexei Yaroshevsky reports.
We've known for decades that the closest that the world has ever got to a nuclear war was October 1962, the so-called Caribbean nuclear crisis. But now it's becoming more and more evident just how close it actually was. On October 28, 1962, a U.S. military base in Okinawa, Japan, received an order to strike 4 targets with nuclear warheads. That's according to John Borden, who served at the facility at the time. Let's look at what exactly the Okinawa facility had in store. Now, each site had 4 Mace B cruise missiles. Each of those missiles was equipped with Mark 28 nuclear warhead, very powerful ones. Each warhead carried 1.1 megatons of TNT. Believe it or not, that is 70 times more powerful than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Altogether, those rockets could carry 35.2 megatons of destructive power. That's pretty much enough to wipe a whole country off the face of the earth. Now, with a range of 1,400 miles, warheads could have reached a number of communist capitals in the region, Hanoi, Pyongyang, Beijing, as well as military installations of the Soviet army in the Far East. To surprise of the commanding officers at the base, 3 of the 4 marked targets were not Russian. Confusion ensued, and the airmen thought that they may be attacked imminently, which did not happen. But thank God that was not the only thing which surprised one of the officers at the base. The protocol at the time said that a nuclear strike could only have been launched at the maximum alert level of DEFCON 1, which at the moment stood at a lower level of DEFCON 2. Now, John Borden recalls Captain William Bassett saying that we have received no upgrade to DEFCON 1, which is highly irregular, and we need to proceed with caution. The next part of the phrase is pretty telling. This may be the real thing, or it's the biggest screw-up we will ever experience in our lifetime. In the meantime, one of the Okinawa nuclear facilities was just about to pull the trigger and execute the launch order. Alerted Captain Bassett forced a double check from a major who had sent the order, and it turned out that the order was indeed false. The launch order was immediately suspended. The Okinawa crew later learned that the major issuing this potentially world-destroying order was demoted and forced to retire following that incident. To be fair, such lapses happened on both sides of the Cold War barricades back then. There were numerous occasions when Soviet army men nearly pulled the trigger on a nuclear launch, and that has been something that's been revealed over the last decade or so. Borden had been kept silent about the Okinawa incident for the last 50 years, and now he seeks investigation to showcase lapses in nuclear operations which would help to prevent anything like that from happening ever again. So far, there have been none any other military personnel working in Okinawa in 1960 stepping forward. But if Borden's accounts are to be believed, Captain Bassett is indeed an unsung hero, just as 2 Soviet officers, Vasily Arkhipov and Stanislav Petrov, who prevented a nuclear war by doing nothing, or to be more precise, neglecting false orders from their command. Alexei Yaroshevsky, RT, reporting from Washington, D.C.